Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, Kuro Games always loves putting in some teasers, some potential spoilers in some of their content that they put in game. We've seen it before with things like Sonata sets, certain character designs, voice lines, all of that. But it appears that for Wuthering Waves' anniversary and the free bike skin that they're awarding as people get more and more of the points, they might have spoiled and leaked one of the new designs that we're going to be seeing for none other than Yangyang over here. Goodness gracious, it's been a long time since we've seen this unit, right? It's been a long goddamn time since we've actually seen her have a relevant role in the story. But it turns out with some of the things, some of the notes that we've seen in version 3.3, and of course that artwork that I was just showing you over there, everything might change very soon. Some of the physical characteristics of Yangyang that I want you to focus on right now are the little tassel mark that she has in the middle of her forehead, followed by the mole under her right ear. This is what the Yangyang cube looks like in game right now. You can see that the mole is over there alongside her, kind of like hanging on to Rover, looking a little bit goofy. This is another unit that we've seen on the corner of the bike. I think you guys can kind of guess what's going on over here. There aren't a lot of characters in the game that have a tacit mark right square in the middle of their forehead. Some people might have thought at a baseline, oh, this is surely Calcharo, right? He's got a tacit mark over there. His is sideways. Calcharo's tacit mark is sideways. Some people might have been saying, oh, maybe it's Cardathea. And you might have a somewhat of a point there, but Cardathea's blonde and has a crown. And this, if you look at every other part of the design over here, nothing is even slightly close to Cardathea. So that one is probably out of that was probably out of line already. It's clear where most of the similarities are coming from over here. This looks like Yangyang, but this looks like a dark version of Yangyang that has, well, a two-toned hair, much like the original one, right? She's got blue and black and a little bit of white. This one's got white and red. And I don't know if you can consider that blue. It just looks like additional shading. That's white and red. A lot of people might have some initial thoughts already. And the first one's going to be very simple. This could be an alternative form of Yangyang. And that would actually make a decent amount of sense, right? Because we all know who's on the cover of Wuthering Waves, the poster child of this game. She's been the icon since day one. And pretty much everything when it comes to gacha games goes like this. If the character is on the face of the game, they're typically given out for free, but then they also make sure to monetize them later by giving them a second form. We've seen it across virtually every single title imaginable. Honkai Star Rail's done it for March 7th. Well, they got you Evernight over here, right? It's clearly meant to be the same unit, but this is like her evil version, I guess. Zenless Zone Zero did it as well. Actually, the earliest out of every goddamn gacha we've ever seen when they released Silver Ambi over here. And then, of course, for another Kuro title that's done it, right, ladies and gentlemen? You've got Lucia in her baseline frame for punishing Grey Raven. And then you have like 17 other million versions of Lucia, if we're going to be frankly honest. But like really, the crazy one over here, it's going to be Lucia Pyroath, right? The most recent one that this character actually looks crazy. That's something that's been done for pretty much every... I'm pretty sure Paimon is going to be playable soon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even joking. They're probably going to like have like some fucking time portal loop where like Paimon like turns into like some fucking... Paimon's probably like one of those gods that we saw in one of those trailers, right? Probably. And she's going to be less annoying and then playable at some point. I would not be surprised. Anyways, that's what's likely going to happen over there for Genshin. And it's kind of clear. The similarities are a bit too similar. You got the cowlick as well at the very top. This one's got the same exact cowlick. Literally the only thing that looks different is that the hair color is different. The eyes are different. And she naturally looks like a little bit more evil than you would have expected. And some people might be saying, oh, surely, like, these are just AI generated images, right? You're going so far. No, it's right there, bro. No, it's right there. Like, you can see it with all the other cubes. It's right there. And then that's where the Yangyang cube is. So yeah, no, this is what I'm talking about. This is where it's from in game. The free anniversary bike skin. So naturally, it's time for us to do a little bit of theorizing, a little bit of lore dumping, a little bit of examination over here. Because this might not actually be Yangyang. And the reason for that is very simple. We all know that a big part of Yangyang, right, is that mole. It's even on the Wuthering Waves icon. You can see the mole right here. There's no mole on this version of Yangyang. That could be enough for some people to think maybe this is like Yangyang's evil sister. Maybe this is like Yangyang's like relative or something, and they just happen to have some sort of tacit mark. That could be something too. Because guess what the cube Yangyang has? Yeah, the cube Yangyang has her mole, brother. And then it's right there. It could be that the mole is just hidden under here. It could be that the mole is just hidden under here. But wait until you listen to this. This is a little bit crazy. This is a note from the 3.3 story quest, the Hiyuki Seg quest. The Grand Architect's handwritten note when you're reviewing the 1.0 part of Jinzhou. Rover, we shall use that name for him for now. That is what's on the Grand Architect's note. Fracsidus is the origin of the name Rover. And guess who names us Rover? Yangyang. Rover, can we call you that before you remember your true name? The origin of the name Rover comes from Fracsidus, and then Yangyang is the one that names us Rover. My personal take is this is likely, possibly, the Fracsidus version of Yangyang. I think Yangyang, or maybe one of her relatives or something like that, is actually in Fracsidus. And wouldn't that be one of the most wild, diabolical plot twists ever? When you consider the fact that, like, bro, she's been in, like, constant communication with us. You guys remember, right? Wait. Did my fucking... Where's my survey mail? Bro, did you motherfuckers delete my survey mail? Anyways, Yangyang's always the person, right, that's, like, sending you the mail. It just got deleted from my fucking inbox. She's always the one sending you mail when it comes to, like, shit. Yeah, I wish I had an example in here, bro. They delete that shit immediately. She's always the one sending us the surveys. She's always the one doing that shit. How crazy would it be if she was actually in Fracsidus the whole time? How crazy would that be? And yeah, Yangyang deleted her own mail, bro. Or, think about it this way. What if she's actually a tool for Fracsidus without them even knowing? We all know, right, especially after the 3.3 quest, that Fracsidus has the ability to kind of like create some of these, you know, like alternative vessels. What if they've been able to sort of like weaponize Yangyang in a similar way, and this is what they've been able to produce over here? Maybe she's a Thanodian resonator. Maybe there's something else going on. Because there's also this cutscene over here from 1.0, right? We all remember this one, where we're with Yangyang right before we meet a member of Fracsidus. She's perfectly fine after that. She gets kidnapped by Scar, right? We have all this stuff going on. But then after this cutscene, ladies and gentlemen, she comes back unharmed. Perfectly fine, no big deal. If she was truly like an actually story irrelevant character, all of that, right? Fracsidus really has no reason to care about her. She's just like a random Jinzhou soldier at this point in the game. Like literally just a random Midnight Ranger. She should be just like an NPC to Fracsidus. But it clearly looks like she's actually a part of their plans. It clearly looks like she's a part of their plans already, when you look at that. And the color scheme over here, ladies and gentlemen, let's be entirely honest. Isn't the color scheme over here a little bit too on the nose to be anything except Fracsidus? If we're being entirely honest over here, red and white hair, the motif like this, like the red eyes, she kind of looks almost like a Frolova reskin to a degree, right? And those are straight up the Fracsidus colors. And we all remember what happens to Scar in Jinzhou, right? He goes to jail. Scar goes to jail. Handled by Jinsi and Sanhua. Right? Scar gets fucked up here. But it's probably on purpose. He gets captured after this. But he ends up showing back up in 2.7. Maybe Yangyang is actually the one that freed him. Because as far as I'm concerned, we never got to see the scene where Scar escapes prison. We just have a, thought it was Cristoforo? Guys, Scar's the one with the teleportation ability. Scar's the one with the teleportation ability. He kind of just shows up in 2.7. He escaped through the Dark Tide. Guys, the Dark Tide is from Renacida. And a big thing about, Threnodians and Sentinels is that outside of their regions, they don't really have, that much power. That's why Overthrax, right, isn't, fucking shit up in Lahai Roi. That's why Leviathan's Whispers aren't going over to Jinzhou. That's why Leviathan's Whispers aren't really going over to Lahai Roi. We see the Dark Tide in 3.3 because the Grand Architect literally says that they have, right, a piece of Leviathan. They said they gave Scar a portion of the Dark Tide. Who do you think gave it to him? Think it would have been pretty easy for Yangyang, right, to slip a little bit of the Dark Tide over to Scar in prison. Because I don't think it could just, I don't know, fucking work its way there with no problem. I assume that it got delivered to him by somebody on the inside. They never said who gave it to him, so it could be Yangyang. Cristoforo. Yes, Cristoforo explained it by saying that a piece of the Dark Tide got over to Scar, and that's how he escaped. And we're saying over here, maybe Yangyang was the person that gave the Dark Tide to Scar. Because we've clearly seen that they've collaborated a little bit before, brother man. Yeah, we've clearly seen that there's been a bit of collaboration between the two before. I don't think that would be too surprising. Here's a direct line from 2.7 when it comes to the whole Dark Tide Scar situation that pretty much implies that somebody snuck in some Dark Tide to Scar during 2.7's finale, breaking me out right under Ming Ting's nose without setting off a single alarm. And basically, as the Dark Tide spread and I was pulled in deeper, the mark of the Dark Tide you left in me allowed my frequency to merge with it, which probably means that somebody under Ming Ting's alarm, right, snuck some Dark Tide over to Scar, and then he absorbed it, and then was able to escape that way. Would make sense for a trusted member of the Midnight Rangers, Jinzhou's, police force, right, basically, the Midnight Rangers, to be able to access the prison and do something like that. That's what we're talking about over here with, Yangyang being affiliated with Fracsidus and probably having something to do with his escape. Because remember, they're talking about doing it right under Ming Ting's nose. And remember, this is just a theory. Could be something else entirely, but it does make a lot of sense. And remember, this is all banking on the idea over here that Yangyang is linked to Fracsidus. It's just so interesting to see so many people so adverse to the idea that when Yangyang clearly has an association to Fracsidus, that oh, yeah, there's no way Yangyang would be involved with the Fracsidus going on in Jinzhou. Yeah, there's no way Yangyang would be related to Scar's escape, even though we're clearly seeing this right here. No, that doesn't make any sense, Saint. That's what you guys sound like right now. Because what's one character we know virtually fucking nothing about? Bro, it's this one. She might have the least lore in the fucking game, bro. We know almost nothing about her. Literally fucking nothing. Nothing about her background, nothing about her history, nothing about, what she even wants to do other than, be there for Rover. That's kind of it. And when you know that Fracsidus as a whole has, a fucking obsession with Rover, right? A literal obsession with Rover. An unhealthy one, if we're frankly going to be honest. It makes a lot of sense for her to be on their side. And so my take at the end of all of this, right? At the end of this entire breakdown is this. I think that we're going to be getting either an alternative form of Yangyang, somebody that's, related to Yangyang tangentially. Maybe this is, a hostage, and that's why Yangyang works with Fracsidus. But this Yangyang over here is probably going to be related to Fracsidus. And that's where I think this entire breakdown is going to go. And Kuro is clearly meaning to show something over here. Check this scene 111, who gave him that info.
His awakening has slowed. Could the Midnight Rangers have caused this? Soft cries will never command.
I think this is them just observing that the awakening is slowed down. Yeah, I think this is just I think this is just them awakening. He's in the gorges of spirits. Care to witness it firsthand? Ooh. Oh, I see. This is what you're talking about. Yeah, how would they know where he is? How would they know where Rover spawned? Maybe it's a Christopher or Raven? Or when you see this over here, maybe it's because Yangyang's the inside woman. I think it's because Yangyang's the inside woman. Because there's no reason for Fracsidus to be the one to come up with the name Rover and Yangyang to be the one to say it and name us this. So yeah, I'm thinking either like some evil alter ego, maybe a little bit like. Actually, it wouldn't be surprising if they pulled something similar to Evernight over here to make this happen. That could be something that actually occurs, right? Maybe Yangyang doesn't even know. Maybe Yangyang doesn't even know that she has an evil Fracsidus side to her. That could be something as well. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly, this is a lot of stuff that we're sort of previewing before previous versions of the game. There's a lot of different ways that this shit can go. But it's pretty clear that we're going to have a new unit, a new character, likely a limited one, right? That looks a lot like Yangyang. So much, right? Like Yangyang that there's really no way at all we can deny some of the links. Especially with stuff like this. And the relationship between her and Scar, all of that, the info that he's getting, all that goodness, the links that she has to Fracsidus as a whole. I don't think any of that stuff can be deniable. So that's likely where it's going to go, but we'll see what we see. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.